Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. It was a disappointing game last night as the Dodgers dropped the first game of the series to Tampa Bay, and it really was not a competitive game. Just never felt like the Dodgers were in that game at all. Tulsa won their game. Great Lakes won. And as I record this video, still waiting on the results of AAA Oklahoma City, as it's one of those neat times of year, or weird times of the year, where the LA Dodgers, who are usually on West Coast time, are actually on East Coast time. And the Oklahoma City Dodgers, who are usually on Central Standard Time, they're actually on West Coast time, so they kind of have it backwards right now. So Oklahoma City playing the late game and LA playing the early game. Okay, so still waiting on the results of Oklahoma City, and then obviously Rancho, Cucamonga. We'll have updates on that by the end of this show, I promise you on that. So, hey, it was, a night that was frustrating if you're a Dodgers fan, but hey, it is what it is. You got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and continue to move yourself forward. There were some positives that came out of it. I counted exactly 5. I will get into those here in just a minute. But before we get into all that, just a reminder, if you'd like to help Dodgers Daily by donating, we do now have a GoFundMe account. Scroll down to the description. We have the link right there for you to click. Just click that, and it'll take you right to the Dodgers Daily GoFundMe. Also, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily. Share this video, and then after you become a subscriber, go ahead and click that notification bell, turn on the notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you'll be notified. You'll never miss a thing. And Dodgers Daily can keep growing. We can keep doing exactly what we love to do, which is providing videos and content like this in the future. Okay, frustrating game for the Dodgers. We're going to dive into it, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it, and let's talk Dodgers baseball. So the Dodgers drop a decision 9-3 to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays to drop their season record to 31-21 on the season. The Dodgers, they gave up 4 runs in the first 2 innings. Noah Syndergaard did. They gave up 6 runs in the first 4 innings. And so really it was 6-2 after the first 4 innings, and the Dodgers really never threatened from there. So, hey, Noah Syndergaard, he got the start on the bump. We're going to get into all that. But offensively, Freddie Freeman had a couple of hits. Willsmith had a couple of hits. J.D. Martinez and then Miguel Rojas and David Peralta each had a hit as well. So, hey, 9 hits in all, strung out over 3 runs. But again, just never felt like the Dodgers quite were in that game. Never really felt like they totally competed. Okay, so before we get into some of the things that went wrong, let's talk about the positives, okay? Positive number 1 is that Noah Syndergaard at least gave you length. You only had to use a couple of pitchers, which means, hey, we need to win the next 2 games against Tampa Bay, which is going to be tall duty. You saw just how good they are tonight. That offense, they're very athletic. They hit the ball very well. They squared up. Saw a lot of hard hit balls against Noah Syndergaard. So, hey, tough duty, but the Dodgers have all their bullets still in their holster, ready to go, because Noah Syndergaard, although he did give up, it wasn't a great night for him. He gave up the 6 runs. He did at least go 6 innings, and the Dodgers only had to use, a couple of pitchers on the night. So, hey, that was positive number 1. Okay, the next 3 positives. Offensively, Will Smith, he is absolutely the best catcher in baseball. Okay, despite the fact that the Dodgers don't hold runners, that's not something that he can control. It's not his fault. You saw, the stolen bases tonight. They were stolen on the pitcher, Noah Syndergaard specifically. Let me dive into this just a little bit. Okay, so each pitcher, their goal is to be 1.3 to the plate after they come set, okay, and then after they go home to home plate, their goal is to be 1.3 to home plate, meaning after, when they start going to home plate, get the ball to the catcher in the catcher's glove in 1.3 seconds. That's their goal. Anything underneath that is good. Anything above that is not good. Noah Syndergaard, okay, he's anywhere from 1.5 to 1.7, okay, so he's very slow to home plate. So, when you see the other team have stopwatches in their back pocket, what they're doing is they're counting the time that it takes the pitcher to go to home plate, okay, and they're also counting pop time from the catcher. Okay, a pop time, a pretty good pop time would be somewhere around 2 seconds. So, what an offensive team does is they're looking for that 3.3 seconds, the 1.3 from the pitcher, the 2.0 from the catcher, and then they know all of their runners' speeds as far as how long it takes them to go from first to second on a steal. So if a pitcher, let's say Noah Syndergaard, is 1.6 to the plate, Will Smith is 2.0 pop time, that's 3.6. So any runner that they have that can go from first base to second base in less than 3.6 seconds, which is just about everybody on the roster, they are going to have the green light to steal. Okay, and then especially when you put a lefty out there with justinbruihl, then you just simply go first move. I've talked about in the past, you shorten your lead from 13 down to 12, make it look like you don't have quite as big of a lead. Then you take a half step back to make the pitcher think that you're not going anywhere. Then you just take off on that first move, and there's really nothing the catcher can do. So for the simple fact, just do math, okay? The Dodgers, between Noah Syndergaard delivering the ball to home plate and Will Smith throwing it down to second base, they were in the 3.5 to 3.7 range, and almost every single player in the Tampa Bay Devil Rays lineup is faster than that to second base. So just math would tell you right there that the running game is going to be tough for the Dodgers. Hopefully Clayton Kershaw, tomorrow being left-handed, can do a better job with that. Maybe he can certainly at least eliminate the first move steal by picking to first a little bit more, and of course all of that kind of thing as far as making sure that the Tampa Bay Devil Rays don't just steal the Dodgers like they did tonight, the 4 stolen bases, and really, that's an entire run right there. So the Dodgers need to do a better job of holding base runners. Noah Syndergaard, his stuff isn't there as far as the swing and miss. He even referenced that on his post-game talk with Kirsten Watson. And then also he's not holding runners, so that's a bad combination. That's why you give up the 6 runs. Very frustrating to watch. Okay, so positive number 1 was that, hey, at least you got linked. You got the 6 innings. Positive number 2, Will Smith, best catcher in baseball. He's hitting .325. His OPS is .978, and he has 3 multi-hit games in a row, does Will Smith. And he's 7 for his last 12, and he's hitting .342 this month, Will Smith is. And his OPS for the month of May is .999. So Will Smith, best catcher in baseball, in my opinion. There is positive number 2. On the evening, positive number 3, J.D. Martinez. Boy, he has been playing really good offense as of late. He had 2 more hits last night, which is his second 2-hit game in a row for J.D. Martinez, and his 3rd multi-hit game in his last 4 games. So J.D. Martinez, like I said, he has been very, very hot. He's hitting .309 in May. His OPS is .964 in May, and he's definitely hit his stride. And if you look at his power numbers, man, he's set up. If he continues at this pace, he's going to hit a bunch of home runs for the Dodgers this year. So I think J.D. Martinez probably outperforming what even the most optimistic Dodgers fans thought they might get out of him. Very good average, very good power numbers, and he's been very good so far in May. So there is positive number 3 for the Dodgers. You had the length. At least you only had to use 2 pitchers. Will Smith, J.D. Martinez, and then Freddie Freeman, who had 2 hits last night to extend his hit streak to 15 games. Freddie Freeman is just phenomenal, okay? And he is hitting .329, which is, territory that he's familiar with because, okay, that would make the 4th year in a row that Freddie Freeman has his average over 300. If he finishes over 300 this year, which I think it's probably a pretty good bet that he will, that will make his 4th year in a row to where he hits over 300, okay, and the 6th out of his last 7 years that his average will be over 300. Just remarkable consistency. Freddie Freeman is a remarkable player. And also, his OPS this year is .959. And check this out, okay? Freddie Freeman's OPS has been close to or over 900 for the last 9 years in a row. So, okay, positives, again, I said there's 5 of them. 1, you got the length, only had to use 2 pitchers. Will Smith, J.D. Martinez, Freddie Freeman. That makes 4 positives. So what is the 5th positive? The game is over. That's about the best I can do as far as positives for that game. There's your 5 positives from that last night. That's that's about all that I could come up with. Okay, so moving to the pitching, Noah Syndergaard, we talked about him and justinbruihl, the only two pitchers the Dodgers had to use. Okay, 6 runs, 6 innings, 4 stolen bases. Not going to sugarcoat it. It was an ugly performance. The post-game talk with Noah Syndergaard to Kirsten Watson, that was equally as ugly. It was depressing to listen to, listening to him talk about how he doesn't have the same type of stuff and he's trying to stay positive and he's working his butt off and all that kind of stuff. Just a depressing conversation that he had with Kirsten Watson. It kind of was a downer for me. If you don't believe me, just go watch it. Maybe I'm wrong. Leave me a comment. Am I wrong on the tone and just kind of the mood? Of course, nobody's going to be in a good mood after giving up 6 runs. I get it, but it just seemed like he kind of had lost all confidence and had kind of fallen into a pool of negativity and was trying to convince himself that he needed to become and continue to be more positive with it. And it just seemed like, just a really downer of an interview. And so, hey, maybe I'm wrong on that. Leave me a comment. Go watch that interview. Tell me what you think about that. Okay, so, all right, looking forward to tomorrow. It's Clayton Kershaw against Tyler Glasnow, which is a rematch of the 2 games in the 2020 World Series. Hopefully, those rematches come to roost again because those are 2 games that the Dodgers won on their way to the World Series championship in 2020. Interesting, though, that hey, this is the return for Clayton Kershaw after the unfortunate passing of his mother. God rest her soul. Okay, and then also it's the first outing for Tyler Glasnow of 2023. He had the oblique injury, so he's coming off of that. So this is a golden opportunity for the Dodgers to dive into that. You wouldn't think that Glasnow would give the Rays a whole lot of links. So, that's another thing. When you lose games like tonight, it's very important that you keep fighting, even if you lose, just so you can dent into the bullpen of the other team. So it was a little bit disappointing that the Dodgers couldn't put up more of a fight to at least get into more of the bullpen of Tampa Bay Devil Rays. But hey, I thought Dave Roberts played it very well. He knew that the odds of winning this game, weren't very good. So I think he did a very good job of getting the most amount of length out of Noah Syndergaard as he possibly could and continuing to save his bullpen to try to win these last 2 games to, break 500 in the road trips. Hey, you still have a chance. You win the next 2 games, which the Dodgers are totally capable of. That would mean you go 500 on the road trip. That would be success, especially when you consider they would have won back-to-back series against the Braves and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays on the road. Easier said than done, though, to win the next 2. But, hey, that's still right in front of you. So, hey, early games today. There will not be a show tomorrow for the simple fact that the Sunday game is super, super, super early. Plus, me and the family and the dog, we're going to load up and we're going to head to the farm and we're going to go fishing and we're going to walk all the way around that place and have us a good time. So, hey, that's where we'll be tomorrow. We will be paying attention to the Dodgers game, but we will not put a show together for the simple fact that by the time we get it out, the Dodgers will just about, especially if we add the minor league system to it, the Dodgers will almost be already playing again. But I will post on my social medias, so if you want to keep up with Dodgers Daily as far as our coverage of the Dodgers and the minor league system tomorrow, just follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. So that concludes our talk of the LA Dodgers. Time now to move our attention to the minor league system. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it, and let's take a trip down on the farm. The AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers scored single runs in the first, second, fourth, fifth, and ninth innings, and that was all they needed to take down the Sacramento River Cats 5-4. Sacramento just 22-27 on the year. They are the AAA affiliates of the Giants, so it's good anytime you can beat the Giants in anything. I don't care if it's marbles. I want to beat the Giants, and the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers did that last night. 5-4 to move to 36-13 on the season. Drew Avens had a hit. Yanni Hernandez, Hunter Fiducia, Devin Mann, Justin Yurchak, Jahmai Jones all had single hit nights for the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers. But the night was stolen again by JonnyDeluca, who had 4 hits, 2 RBIs. He had another night where he had a double and a single. That's the second night in a row that he has done that. JonnyDeluca has just been absolutely fantastic for AAA Oklahoma City. He is just, his average is up to 310 to match his 12 home runs, 10 stolen bases. So, hey, how about a guy who, he has the chance to be 30-30 and then hit over 300 as well. That would be just about as effective of a player as you could possibly imagine offensively. That is the track that Jonny DeLuca is on right now. He is simply a fantastic player. He's so dynamic. He's so diverse in the way that he can beat defenses. He is that guy that on the other team, man, you just have nightmares of trying to, first of all, get him out, and then once he gets on base, trying to keep him from scoring. So Jonny DeLuca has done a fantastic job, playing very well for AAA Oklahoma City. On the pitching side, William Cuevas started last night. He went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs on 4 hits. He had 4 strikeouts and 3 walks. Mark Washington, who you're seeing right here, he went an inning and he gave up no runs, so it was a good outing for Mark Washington. Welcome back, Gus Varlin. He came back and pitched last night. He threw an inning and gave up a run for AAA Oklahoma City. And then TaylerScott and Mark Washington were just, Nick Robertson and TaylerScott were just ridiculously good in the last 2 innings. Nick Robertson actually got the save, his 7th save. We're going to talk about it here in just a minute. TaylerScott got the win. He moved to 2-0 on the season. But hey, Mark Washington, who you're seeing right here, he was just simply fantastic last night. Washington, being 6'7", he uses what he calls vert. He's so tall that when he uses the top of the zone, it has so much backspin and it's coming out so high to a hitter that it just looks like it's rising to them. And the taller you are, the higher you release it, the more that ball looks like it's rising. And then the real effect to it, whenever he hits the bottom of the zone, it's dropping so much, it just looks like it's almost in a free fall to the hitter. It looks like there's no way it's going to stay in the strike zone. Look at that changeup. Great pitch by Mark Washington. Then all of a sudden, because it has so much backspin, it actually carries the bottom of the zone, and it just shocks you as a hitter that it stayed a strike. So Mark Washington has a great vert effect to his pitches. He has the really good changeup we've seen a couple of times, and the good slider that turns left. So Mark Washington, good performance last night for AAA Oklahoma City. Boy, how good has TaylerScott been? He's a young South African, not young anymore, but he's more of a veteran in terms of his baseball overall experience. There's Devin Mann, young man out of Louisville, good play from third base. Hey, he gets, he's that 3/4 slot, but he has the best of all worlds because that 3/4 slot is uncomfortable for hitters. But although he is 3/4 slot, he, kind of like Ryan Sublette, who we're going to talk about here in a minute, he stays behind the ball. And because he does that almost like he's coming over the top, he gets the best of all worlds because he gives the uncomfortable look. Look at the right-hander right there, just kind of froze. Just not a comfortable at bat for a right-handed hitter. But because he stays behind the ball, he's still able to pronate that thing right there and get good arm side movement and still get the ball to turn left at the same time. Look at that movement and that fade to the arm side right there. You saw it again with his fastball. So you've seen him get that fade to the arm side with 2 different pitches. And then look at that awesome 86-mile-an-hour changeup. That's because he still stays behind the ball. So he has the best of all worlds. And just like that right there, he's also able to make the ball turn left. So TaylerScott, he's got a great thing going on for AAA Oklahoma City right now. His ERA is down to just 102, and he has allowed runs in just 2 outings all year, and they were both just single runs. So he has been as close to automatic as it gets. TaylerScott. Boy, you talk about ridiculous. Nick Robertson hit 97.3 last night, and he sat 96. Coming into this year, Nick, I've talked to him now 3 different times. He usually sits 94 to 96. Well, he's sitting above right now what he normally sat, or what he normally hit, excuse me. He normally, sits 94, 96. He's now sitting 96.2. And I tell you what, his first 6 pitches last night were insane. He struck out the side, but he had 2 outs, both on strikeouts, in 6 pitches in a row, his first 6 pitches of the 9th inning last night. He was just 1 pitch away from an immaculate inning. And if you look right here on the scoreboard, hey, it was a 1-run game. Bottom of the 9th, it was high drama, and he just sucked the life out of Sacramento by coming out and just dominating them. And any thought they might have had of dramatics and drama, high drama in Sacramento on a on a Friday evening, he just simply took it all out of the air by coming out and just being completely dominant. And, like I said, the first 6 pitches, after the first 6 pitches, he had 2 outs and 2 strikeouts, and he struck out the side to pick up his 7th save of the season. Nick Robertson now 7 for 7 on the year in save opportunities. His whip on the year is .088. His average against is just 171. And he has 34 strikeouts and 22.2 innings. And one of the things I've kept trying to harp on about Nick Robertson is the fact that, hey, his high school coach played professional baseball. At James Madison, he only threw, I think, a little bit above 55 innings. He has had guys in his life that has taught him a great motion to gather easy power, so he gets to that 96.2, that 97.3 without having to max out for number 1. And then number 2, they have taken care of his arm. So he has a young arm that still has a lot of vibrance to it. And because of that, I've been trying to tell people, hey, he is a guy that still has a lot of life left in that arm. So however old he is, just go ahead and subtract 2 to 3 years off of that, because, again, his coaches in the past, going all the way back to high school, have done such a fantastic job taking care of him. And that's why you're seeing him all of a sudden just, start adding velo as he gets older. And we've seen that this year with Nick Robertson. Well, it wasn't a walk-off like we've seen all this week for the AA Tulsa Drillers, but it was another dramatic one-run victory last night for Tulsa. They beat the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, the AA affiliates of the Kansas City Royals, 4-3 last night behind very good pitching. Jorbitvivas stole the night offensively. He had 3 hits. And then also, hey, Joshstowers had a good night last night. It was good to see him have a good night. Jose Ramos, Carson Taylor, Brandon Lewis, and Bryson Brigman all had hits as well. Nicknastrini, who you're seeing on the screen here, went 2 innings. He did give up a couple runs. We're going to talk about him here in just a minute in depth, but he has been so good this year for AA Tulsa. Alecgamboa had maybe his best performance of the year. He went 4 innings, another piggyback situation for Tulsa. Gave up just 1 run, had 3 strikeouts, and then Ryan Sublette picked up his 5th save of the season. In the 9th inning, he went the last inning scoreless. Nicknastrini, I'll tell you what, man, he has been so good for AA Tulsa. His ERA is just 2.83. Coming into the night, his ERA was just 2.04, though. This month in May, his whip was just 0.91, and his average against was just 161. So, hey, whenever he has a performance where he gives up 2 runs in 4 innings, which isn't a bad performance at all, it's like, hey, what's going on, because he has been just so good. So, hey, Nicknastrini, again, kind of like some of these other guys, every once in a while, if there is a deficiency, he wanders out of the strike zone. He loses command from time to time. That happened to him last night a little bit. You can see a little bit of frustration on his face. But, hey, he's comparing himself to such a ridiculously high bar that when he's just almost not perfect, okay, he gets frustrated with that because that's how good he has been. So Nicknastrini went 4 innings last night, pitched good for AA Tulsa. Jorbitvivas stole the show offensively. I mentioned that just a minute ago. He had 3 hits last night for AA Tulsa. He has his average up to 296, his OPS 878. If you remember, he started the season, Vivas did, with a 17-game hit streak. So he has been very explosive. He's also been very consistent, and he's been very good. And he's on the 40-man roster. Got to see him in person. He has a great style, good swag to him. A confident, not cocky, not arrogant, not any of that, just very confident. A great style to him. Very powerful player, very explosive. So Jorbitvivas, another good game last night. No, not a good game, a great game in front of a huge crowd at One Oak, man. No better place on earth to be than downtown Tulsa on a Friday night. Drillville when it's packed. The Drillers are playing good baseball. No better place in the world on earth to be Dan there in jorbitvivas put on a show for him. Joshstowers, it was good to see him have another good night last night. You know, he got off to the really good start. If you remember, he was a second-round draft pick back in 2018 by the Mariners, so you know he's very talented. Then he struggled just a touch, so it's good to see him get back on track. You know, this young man is very talented, and hey, he's out of Louisville, and I think Dodgers fans are pretty happy with the products that the Cardinals have produced for the Dodgers organization. How about Will Smith? You happy with him? How about the debut of Bobby Miller? I think Dodgers fans are pretty happy with the way that went. And then Devin Mann has been really good at AAA Oklahoma City. So another Louisville product, Joshstowers, who had a really good night last night. Don't forget, he was a second-round draft pick just 5 years ago. So big talent for Joshstowers. It's been a roller coaster year so far for left-handed pitcher Alecgamboa. I call him the artist because when he's on, it's like he's painting a picture of the strike zone, inside, outside, up, down. He just uses every bit of the zone. He changes speeds. Okay, last night, a good outing for him. No, great outing. Again, the drillers used that piggyback like they did the night before with Kasparius and Hurt. Last night, it was nicknastrini who went 4. Then Alecgamboa went 4 as well. Alec is, you know, he can do that very easily. That's another thing about the drillers staff is not only are they very talented guys, a lot of these guys like Alecgamboa, John Rooney, nicknastrini, Kyle Hurt, they can start, they can come in and piggyback. Ben Kasparius being one of them. And they can do basically whatever you need them to do. They can piggyback. You can use basically a 2-starter system. So they're very versatile as well as being just ridiculously talented. It is the best pitching staff in all of the minor leagues. There's no doubt about that. Alecgamboa went last night 4 innings. He gave up just 1 run on 2 hits, 3 strikeouts. The young man out of Madera, California, that many people will say is the best 3-sport star, wrestling, baseball, and football to ever come out of that area. He went to Fresno State out of high school, and after his freshman year was told that he no longer had a scholarship, and he was told so late that he really couldn't do anything about it. So, hey, he actually rented an apartment on his own, was going to walk on to Fresno State. Didn't trust that process, so guess what he did? He transferred across town to Fresno Community College, went to play for Ron Hill, the winningest coach in California history, and the rest is history from there. He had a great career there. Got to play with Christian Funk, who I'm very familiar with there. Christian ended up going to Oklahoma State, was a really, really good left-handed stick. Played first base his first year at OSU because his knees were bad, got his knees corrected, then played a really good third base. So, hey, Christian Funk, old Funky, he was a really good player at OSU. Played with Alecgamboa there at Fresno Community College. Gamboa then gets drafted by the Dodgers, and he has done good work since. So, hey, it was great to see Alecgamboa. He is just a gritty, tough, talented old hombre, man. I love watching him pitch. My style of dude, my style of player, my style of mentality, in a sense that he just is down, gritty, dirty, and when I say dirty, I just mean tough, and he is just fantastic to watch. So Alecgamboa, keep up the great work. Okay, we talked about Taylerscott and being that 3-quarter slot but still staying behind the ball. That is Ryan Sublette, and because of that, you see that changeup that again has that arm side fade. He can get it to turn right. So again, Ryan Sublette has the best of all worlds. And hey, you have been warned. I have told you, look at that awesome changeup. What a pitch. And he got the save last night. Ryan Sublette did. Hey, you've been warned. Don't be a slave to top 30 prospects because there's guys all over the organization like Ryan Sublette who are just tremendously good at what they do. Ryan Sublette, the Red Raider, is just so good. Okay, that changeup, you just saw that one right there. That is a big-time pitch. Unique arm slot. It's uncomfortable to the hitter because it's a 3-quarter slot, so you're not expecting anything to turn right from him. You're expecting everything to kind of come out sideways like a Frisbee and turn left, but because he stays behind the ball, he can, get that thing to turn right like a pitcher that comes over the top. So he has the best of all worlds. That is just an awesome pitch. I could watch that over and over. Okay, Sublette picked up his second save. He went scoreless for the 10th time out of 12 outings, and he has given up more than 1 run, or he has not given up, I should say, more than 1 run in any one outing this year. So Ryan Sublette, I'm just telling you, man, you've been warned. This dude is really, really good. It was a shootout in Peoria last night. It kind of started out slow, for the first 3 innings at least. There wasn't a whole lot going on the Great Lakes side, they were down 3-0, and it's like, well, is this thing going to get started? Boy, did it ever. You're seeing Austin Gauthier hit a home run here. The Great Lakes Loons exploded for 11 runs. They scored 1 in the third, 4 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, 3 in the sixth, and then 2 in the ninth to take down the Peoria Chiefs. They took them down 11-9. The Loons now are 28-15 on the season. The Loons had 5 young men last night that had multi-hit games. Austin Gauthier, Yainer Fernandez, Dalton Rushing all had 2-hit games. Ismael Alcantara, he has been hot as of late. He had a 3-hit game. And then Luis Diaz, boy, he's playing his best baseball defensively. We saw the night before. He was a defensive player of the day on Thursday night. And then Friday night, he was the offensive player of the year. So Luis Diaz has been playing very well. He had 4 hits last night. And then Jake Vogel, Alex Freeland, they both had a hit as well. So offensively, again, it was a 15-hit night. 11 runs for Great Lakes. Great night offensively. Austin Gauthier, who you're seeing right here, has just been simply out of his mind this year. We've talked about the young man who actually hits the ball the opposite field more than he pulls it. Okay, he actually pulled that home run, but don't be mistaken. You throw him down and in, he can pull his hands inside the ball and pull the baseball over the fence that we saw right here. Hey, how good has Gauthier been? The young man out of Hofstra, he's hitting .363. His OPS is .1039, and he has hits in 4 of 5 and 7 of his last 9. So Gauthier, kind of like Jorbitvivas, been very explosive, equally as consistent. On the pitching side of things, Jermaine Rosario started last night. He went 1 2/3 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, so not the greatest of outings for Rosario. He's kind of one of those guys that, hey, he's liable to go out and throw no hitter or do what he did last night and give up 3 and 1 2/3. So kind of up and down for Rosario on the year. Christian Suarez, the left-handed relief pitcher, he gave up a couple of runs in his 1 1/3 innings. Jack Dreyer, who you're seeing right here, he was definitely the pitcher of the game. Hey, anytime that you have a comeback win, anytime that you win a shootout, as many runs there are scored, it's usually the one team that can find a relief pitcher that can go a couple of innings and throw up just 2 zeros on the night. That was Jack Dreyer last night. That's what he did for the Loons. He went 2 innings, scored struck out 3. And he probably was the reason, his 2 innings that he went zeros was the reason why Great Lakes was able to go ahead and outscore Peoria last night. Franklin De La Paz, he threw an inning and gave up a couple of runs. Michael Hobbs gave up a couple of runs in an inning, and then Aldryacosta finished the game last night going 2 scoreless to button it down and get the win on the season to move to 2-1. So Aldryacosta, again, he has been just absolutely fantastic. We talked about he has not allowed an earned run since his first outing of the year. He has just been absolutely automatic. So the pitching, although 11-9, you give up 9 runs, that's obviously quite a few runs, and there were some performances that went just a little bit sideways on a couple of guys. But hey, Jack Dreyer and then also Aldryacosta were simply fantastic last night for Great Lakes. Last video I should have said was provided by Austin Brubaker, who has been at the last 2 games. Thank you so much to Austin for providing those great videos. Okay, and he's done that from time to time this year whenever he's gone to games. So thank you to that. Hey, you're looking at Yainer Fernandez. He went big fly for the 4th time this season. He hit his 4th home run last night. Fernandez has 2 hits, or he had 2 hits last night. That makes his 5th multi-hit game just this month of May. He's hitting .308 on the year's OPS is .811. So Yainer Fernandez having a very good year for the Great Lakes Loons. Dalton Rushing had 2 hits last night. That's his 4th multi-hit game this month and 8th of the season. Rushing has his OPS up to .940. So, hey, there is another Louisville product. I mentioned all Louisville products. How in the world did I leave out Dalton Rushing earlier when I was talking about Joshstowers? So, hey, that makes Bobby Miller, Devin Mann, Dalton Rushing, Joshstowers, and also Will Smith at the top catcher. So, hey, another Louisville product, Dalton Rushing, obviously has the big-time hit tool. He exploded on the scene last year after he got drafted. Had another 2 hit last night for the Great Lakes Loons. Good to see Ismail Alcantara had 3 hits last night and a really good game for Great Lakes. He raised his average to 275 this month. So Alcantara, a very talented young man, been up and down offensively the last couple of years. He's on a high right now, 275 this month. And this month he also has 5 multi-hit games. So Ismail Alcantara playing good offense for the Great Lakes Loons. We saw the great defense of Luis Diaz last night. As a matter of fact, he was the player of the game defensively last night. He was the player of the game offensively. He had 4 hits, and he has hits in 4 games in a row. Luis Diaz played first base, a couple nights ago, played third base, so he's a corner infielder, good athlete. He has a lot of power. Right here you can see, a lot of bat speed in his swing, and he's been playing very well as of late. Talking about Luis Diaz. Rancho scored 1 in the first, 4 in the second, 2 in the sixth, 1 in the ninth, 2 in the 10th. And they actually scored 2 in the 10th to come from behind. And that would come from behind win to beat Lake Elsinore last night 10-9. It was a big offensive game. 15 hits for the Quakes. Chris Newell, who you're seeing on your screen here, had 4 hits, 3 RBIs. Rain Doncone had 2 hits, a couple of RBIs. Kyle Nevin had a hit. Theron Lorenzo had a hit. Jesus Calise had a couple of hits. Nick Biddison had 3 hits, and Jorge Puerta, Kenneth Betancourt each had hits as well. Pitching wise, Peyton Martin started. He gave up 2 runs. He went 1 2/3 innings, and then Levon Reynoso, Jonathan Edwards came in and pitched very well through a scoreless inning. Lucas Wepp went 2 scoreless, 2 1/3 scoreless innings last night. So from the pitching side, there were some good pitching performances, but again, the night was stolen by the offense. 15 hits, 10 runs. The Rancho Cucamonga Quakes win 10-9 over the Lake Elsinore Storm and move to 28-15 on the season.